It's not fabricated. His mama told him. And Wanda wrote an affidavit. The affidavit's been out there all this time, all these years. Now, all of a sudden, it's fabricated? First of all, everybody, this case has been going on since 2000, I want to say 2011. It's been 14 years. 14 years of us pursuing, in the beginning, paternity. And then after that, the damages and all the things that go along with litigating fraud. Let's get that clear, right? There has been no maternity after that. What we're doing right now in California against Mr. Carter, Jay-Z, we are looking for damages, everybody. We're not looking to go back and do any kind of do-over, if you will, of a state court. Let's get that clear, right? This case that we're doing is not about paternity. It is about fraud and fraud.
This isn't something that was made up. His own mother told him, and Wanda even submitted an affidavit. That affidavit has been out there for years, so how can anyone suddenly claim it's fabricated now? Let's be clear about this. This case has been ongoing since around 2010 or 2011. That's 14 years. 14 years of us first pursuing paternity, and then moving on to seek damages and address everything that comes with litigating fraud. To set the record straight, there has been no paternity issue in years. What we're doing now in California against Mr. Carter, Jay-Z, is solely about damages. We're not trying to reopen or redo anything from the original state court proceedings. This isn't about paternity anymore. This case is strictly about fraud and fraud committed upon the courts.
Or it wasn't.
I was 7. My mom had to sit down with me. I guess she thought I was old enough to know now. And she been saying, Sean Carter, that's what she was calling him at first before she was calling it Jay-Z. And I really didn't know who that was because I was young and, had my little brother. And I really wasn't worrying about it. She was saying it a lot, but I really just was going along with the person I was just seeing, like the person I looked at who was taking care of me at that time. I really wasn't really trying to understand what my mom was talking about, but she constantly put it in my head like, son, it's not your father, and I really want you to know it is. This person is your father, and I just want you to know. And she continued to tell me that over the years and over the years and over the years.
The ongoing lawsuit involves Rymir Carter and Jay-Z, who Rymir claims is his biological father, and things have gotten intense. Honestly, I never thought Jay-Z or Beyoncé would publicly address the allegations about Rymir possibly being Jay-Z's son, but they did. In 2022, Jay-Z reportedly obtained an injunction against Rymir due to what the court considered repeated frivolous filings, and he requested that Rymir's most recent lawsuit, filed in federal court, be thrown out immediately. From Jay-Z's response, it seems he believes Rymir's real motive is a significant financial payout. According to insiders, Beyoncé fully supports Jay-Z's stance. Reports suggest the couple even managed to convince Rymir to drop the complaint, though the situation has continued to escalate. Many of you have probably seen updates about this case circulating over the last few weeks, but for anyone not up to speed, here's a quick summary. The latest action stems from a lawsuit filed by Rymir and his godmother, Lily Carter, against Jay-Z. The judge ordered Jay-Z to respond by July 18th, and he complied. To quote the official court order, "Before the court is the ex parte application for additional time to plead or otherwise respond to the complaint filed by defendant Sean Carter. For the reasons discussed herein, the court grants the ex parte application and orders that the defendant's deadline to respond to the plaintiff's complaint be extended to July 18, 2025. Here's how the timeline played out. Lily Carter first filed the case on May 6, 2025. Proof of service was entered into the record on May 29, 2025, showing that Jay-Z was served on May 19, 2025. Additional proof of service was submitted on June 13, 2025. 2 days later, on June 15, 2025, the plaintiffs requested a default judgment, but the clerk denied it on June 16, 2025. That same day, a second request for default was filed, which is still pending. The order also noted that, as of a sworn declaration signed on June 16, 2025, the plaintiffs had not received any agreement, stipulation, or communication suggesting that Jay-Z planned to appear or respond at that point. In response, the defense counsel submitted a sworn declaration alongside the ex parte application. She stated that she had emailed the plaintiff multiple times starting on June 11, 2025, and even attached copies of those emails as proof. The defense attorney also noted that she had spoken with the plaintiff by phone regarding a possible extension. Because of the conflicting accounts, the court reminded both parties of their responsibilities under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11. In the application, the defendant explained that he first learned about the lawsuit on June 3 and believed that service of the complaint was improper. However, he was appearing in the case out of an abundance of caution. The defense counsel also submitted a declaration describing unsuccessful attempts to contact the plaintiff in hopes of agreeing to a stipulated extension. Since no agreement could be reached, the defendant formally asked for the deadline to respond to the complaint to be pushed to July 18, 2025. The judge agreed, stating, "For the reasons listed above, the court grants the ex parte application and orders that the defendant's deadline to respond to the plaintiff's complaint be extended to July 18, 2025. It is so ordered." Now, here's where the drama comes in. According to the allegations, Rymir's mother, Wanda, reportedly had a brief fling with Jay-Z at his aunt's apartment in Brooklyn back in 1982, after he had first met her in Philadelphia. They supposedly used protection, but it failed. Aside from one more visit from Jay-Z about 2 weeks later, Wanda never saw him again and had no way of contacting him. Years later, when Rymir was about 8 years old, Wanda told him that she believed Jay-Z was his father. At the time of Rymir's birth, her then-boyfriend, Robert Graves, had been listed on the birth certificate. But in 2011, Robert's name was legally removed after a DNA test proved he was not the biological father. Wanda explained to Rymir that she had only been romantically involved with Jay-Z and Robert, so if Robert wasn't his father, it could only mean that Jay-Z was. There have also been long-standing rumors that Wanda tried to get Jay-Z to take responsibility. At one point, she even filed a civil lawsuit seeking child support from him, but the case was dismissed because it was filed in the wrong state and was never refiled. Back then, Jay-Z's attorney also stated that Jay had no interest in seeking custody of Rymir. Since then, Rymir has been fighting tirelessly to get Jay-Z to take a paternity test, but Jay has consistently refused. For more than a decade, the family has pushed for this test, but Jay-Z has never agreed. Many believe the reason is tied to Wanda's age at the time. She was only 16 when Rymir was born. Acknowledging Rymir would mean acknowledging that Jay-Z had a sexual relationship with an underage girl and fathered a child with her. Wanda's godmother even confirmed that the age issue was likely the main concern. She explained, "I received a call from Jay-Z's in-house lawyer at the time, and they seemed very willing to settle things privately. We even talked about Rymir's music abilities and whether it was the right time to bring him onto Jay's record label. But since he still had to finish high school, I said no." Then, all of a sudden, different attorneys got involved, and their attitude changed completely. I believe they realized there was much more at stake for Sean because of Wanda's age. The battle between Jay-Z and the family has dragged on for years. Rymir even took the case all the way to the Supreme Court. However, the Supreme Court rejected the case, saying it lacked jurisdiction to reopen appeals or unseal trial court records. Rymir then refiled in the appellate division of the New Jersey Superior Court, but the process has been incredibly difficult. Jay-Z's legal team has argued that because he neither owns property nor resides in New Jersey, he shouldn't be compelled to take a DNA test there. To this day, Rymir hasn't been able to legally force Jay-Z to undergo the paternity test. However, the court has now required Jay-Z to formally respond to the latest complaint, keeping the case alive. Jay-Z's response stated that he had endured years of harassment from Rymir and his godmother. He also claimed that the accusations in the most recent complaint had already been raised and dismissed multiple times by various courts. According to his statement, Jay-Z has never officially confirmed or denied whether he is Rymir's father. In his filing, Jay-Z explained that he had been dragged into court repeatedly by Rymir, his late mother, and his godmother over what he calls a false claim that he is the biological father. His legal team further emphasized that paternity had already been legally determined for someone else in a prior case. They pointed out that Rymir's mother identified another man as the father as far back as 1994, and that man was ordered to pay child support. The legal team also noted that in 2010, the court ruled Rymir's mother could not wait 17 years to name another man as the father after previously identifying someone else and never taking steps to change that decision. Jay-Z's filing referenced numerous court orders over the past 15 years that had dismissed Rymir's claims, arguing that the courts had been correct to do so and that Rymir should now be held accountable for fraud and other related allegations. Jay-Z further argued that the new lawsuit was nothing more than an attempt to bypass an injunction issued in 2022. That injunction, stemming from a previous lawsuit filed by the family against one of Jay-Z's attorneys, prohibits Rymir and his godmother from filing any new lawsuits on the matter in New Jersey without prior approval from the court. Jay-Z also requested that his legal expenses be covered and urged the court to dismiss the new case. When asked about the injunction, Rymir denied any knowledge of it, saying, "I am not aware of this injunction order and I was never served." All the orders from New Jersey courts are in the appeals process because they stem from fraud designed to block our due process, which proves Jay-Z's wrongdoing and allegations of perjury. He also addressed his mother's earlier statement naming another man as his father, clarifying that she was not. Rymir has maintained that his mother was underage at the time of the pregnancy and continues to insist that Jay-Z is his biological father. He has also made it clear on multiple occasions that this isn't about money. In his latest court filing, he reiterated that he is not seeking back child support but instead is asking for general and compensatory damages for emotional distress, damage to his reputation, the loss of financial support, and coverage of his legal fees and related costs. Remember how Jay-Z's legal team argued that the case couldn't move forward in New Jersey because he supposedly didn't own property there? Rymir countered by sharing evidence that Beyoncé's mother, Tina Knowles, wrote in her book that Jay-Z did, in fact, own property in New Jersey at the time. He also pointed out that Jay-Z has had access to his DNA since 2011, so he should know by now whether or not he is the father. Rymir's godmother also pushed back on Jay-Z's claims, stating that the court had confirmed the complaint was properly served to him and that the current case is not focused on paternity. She further noted that none of the parties involved in this case, whether it be Rymir, Wanda, or herself, have ever been found in contempt of court, despite the case dragging on for more than a decade. She also highlighted that there are still many legal complexities and misunderstandings surrounding the situation. Then, out of nowhere, Rymir filed a notice to withdraw his case on July 22nd. When people started questioning the move online, he simply posted on X, "Changes were made to my case on July 18, 2025, around 3:30 p.m. This was due to updates we weren't aware of. We will explain soon, but right now, it's all about my mother." At this point, it's unclear exactly what's going on. Rymir has said he will provide an explanation, so it seems we'll just have to wait for more details. In the meantime, what do you think of Jay-Z's response to the latest lawsuit and the claims that has had Rymir's DNA since 2012? Do you believe Rymir is genuinely seeking justice, or is this just about money? Share your thoughts in the comments below.